Okay, hello, welcome back. This is Joanne. This is bed number 18. Previously, there were some rabbits living underneath this yarrow. I did come in and do some light weeding after the rabbits had left, just to make sure Mom didn't make another nest, but I don't believe they make them in the same spot. So I just want to get the weeds out of here. I have something that I want to plant in one of these smaller beds. Usually in the smaller beds, what I plant are herbs or things that I know will spread. That way they have their own home and I don't have to worry about them. So in this bed, I do believe I have some lemon balm, which is in the mint family to plant. Most of the time, the plants that I'm planting, I have never planted before. I like to plant new plants, new different kinds of varieties all the time. But I do read the instructions to find out what type of plant are, what family they're in, what are their growing habits, can they escape and cause havoc, and anything in the mint family usually can escape and cause havoc because it will overwinter its roots, and usually it has great seeds, so it will end up spreading that way also. So you've got to be careful with your mint family items. But I love different teas. Most of my mints I use for teas, and I find that a lot of times you can just use you can plant the teas anytime. So in my bucket is usually thistles. I don't compost my thistles. My compost doesn't get hot enough. I did see somebody else say that if you let them completely dry out and then, in the sun dry them, and then compost them, they'll be okay. But I have just had so many compost piles over the years thinking I could get it hot enough that have just ended up becoming thistle piles. And then when you can't get close to your compost pile, you don't want to turn it. You don't want to get in there, and it just becomes a hassle. So I find it's just for thistles, I have to throw them in municipal waste. Now, if I had compost waste, I would throw them in there because I know that the facilities that are made for composting do get it hot enough, and they will kill the weed and the weed seeds. So, but I just don't have that kind of facility here. So we're just going to pop some weeds. I'm trying to get as much of the root as possible. Okay. And today we will focus on this weed, if I can get it out. Nice, long, strong root system. It actually is really good. Not all weeds are bad. Some weeds are good. This one is one of them, but not in my garden. I broke it. This is the humble, simple dandelion. And you can tell because there's no thorns or spines on the leaves. It's got a nice long taproot. You can usually find them in clay soils, which is what I have. I have a heavy clay soil that I have amended as much as possible and still amend every once in a while. I think I might have to get another delivery of, so this is a dandelion. This is the root. You can see a nice long taproot. It does send shoots off to the side. Right now my soil is very dry. We haven't had rain. We're supposed to be getting rain today. So it makes it a little harder to dig these out. So I want to get as much as possible. And unlike the thistles, I will just throw them into my grass. Again, my grass around in my garden proper is not treated with any herbicides. I figure if it can be walked on, it can be in the grass. I don't mind the dandelions. I mean, yes, they do get into my beds, and then I have to pop the weeds, but since I like popping weeds, that's not a big deal. There is a pipe here. It doesn't do anything except create a little overhang. The kids call it the bridge. I know that plastics do break down in the garden, but it's not that I don't care. It's just that I have to find an alternative. I've looked into getting metal pipes, but they cost like 10 times more. And then I'm always afraid of having a metal pipe in the ground. I always worry about lightning. Don't ask me why, I just do. Here's another dandelion. I did not get the root on that one. So one of the things dandelions will do for you in your lawn is, first of all, yes, you get the big flowers, but this time of year when it starts to get hot, the dandelions actually kind of stay close to the ground. So if you're mowing, you usually don't notice them unless you take a close look at your lawn. And honestly, most people see your lawn from a distance. So it's usually okay if you have some weeds in your lawn. Nobody's going to notice unless they're sitting there monitoring your lawn. I live in an area where I have no deed restrictions, so I don't have an HOA or anything like that. I can do what I want with my land within reason, within building codes. Okay, there's yarrow in here, and it is. I tried to pull it. It's stuck. It is just doesn't want to give up the ghost. It's got a good root system. It is a volunteer plant for me. I did not plant it here. I don't remember what I planted in this bed last year. Last year's kind of a blur to me because I was just not feeling well all the time. But now that I am better and have had surgery, hopefully the insurance company will pay for my hospital stay. I don't understand it. They paid for the doctor, they paid for the surgeon. They want to pay for the hospital. I guess after you have surgery, you're supposed to just sit outside. It's not that it's got an extensive root system, it's just that they weave themselves together. I do have a bed of yarrow, not too far from here. But the yarrow is spread, I do believe, by the birds. I think the birds like the seed. Because the wind actually comes for me from this way through the garden. And I can tell that because most of my plants flop that way. And my trees have a little bit of a pitch that way. Not that I get a lot of, I don't get a lot of wind. It's nice when I do have a breeze. I am between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario in Buffalo, New York. So my climate is somewhat mild because of the lakes. I don't get the cooling and the heating effects like someone living on the lake would be. What is that? I don't know. We'll take that out. Now, I know you see me struggle a lot with some of these weeds, pulling them out. And yes, you need a little bit of strength to pull your weeds. But this can be mitigated by somebody who comes along with a broad fork. That broad fork is just awesome. It really does. Oh, look at the size of this. Let's get this out of here. That's the fluff left over from the bunnies. You just don't want to touch it. But that doesn't mean that if you sit here and spend time, you can't slowly get weeds out. And even when I was sick, I was still pulling weeds when I didn't have much strength. I didn't get as far. I didn't get as much done, obviously. But if you come across the garden that is in dire straits and you think, oh my goodness, I can't, this is impossible, I'm going to have to get a landscaper, this, that, the other thing. I don't have money for that. You can do it. Just get out there. Work a little bit at a time. It's amazing what you can do just a little bit at a time. And it starts with just identifying what plants do you have. If you are lucky, the previous owners or previous gardeners that maybe have set up a beautiful garden for you. Or maybe you don't even know it's a beautiful garden. If you're lucky, they have put in plant tags for their perennials. So anything that will come up year after year, there is a plant tag for. Now, I'm going to tell you that there are so many different plant tags out there. Whee! I have a racetrack not far from here. It runs through the garden with little kids in it. There are different kinds. I just bought the metal kind. I've always had the plastic kind, but I find the plastic just breaks down after a while. Doesn't last long. There are some really nice metal ones that are just not really budget friendly for me. And sometimes the whole adage is it's not what you buy to save money. It's what you saved not buying it. So there's a tree in here I am going to have to come back and get. And I'll get these little weeds out of here now. Now, some of these little weeds, because I don't get them perfectly, will come back. But the benefit of the little weeds are that they're still little weeds. They still have little root systems. They're easier to, I mean, maybe not this one. This one had a little bit of a more extensive root system. But all in all, through just time, keeping this bed covered with mulch will keep the weeds down. I started watching a video and I had to stop. And I need to finish watching it. That not all weed pulling is beneficial because you disturb the roots of the plants near you. So I will watch that video and give you an update on that. But all in all, this is just a little bed that is done. And I can now put something that I need to contain in. This bed is 3x4, which is, hold on. Okay, this little garden bed is made with 4 foot by 3 foot lumber, which is 1.4 meters and 0.91 meters. I did look those up. So I will come back and get this tree out of here and plant the bed and then cover it and then just give you that quick update. But today I really want to focus on dandelions. They're actually one of my favorite weeds. I love hearing them pop. Here's a leaf. There's another leaf. But again, they don't have a thorn to them. They have a nice root system. So one of the biggest benefits to dandelions is these long root systems will bring moisture up. And their leaves cover the soil. And they'll lay down. When you mow them enough, it's almost like they say, oh, I want to be smaller. But they'll keep moisture in your grass, and you'll keep your grass greener even through the drier times. They'll go dormant like the grass, and they'll come right back out like the grass will. So it's not such a bad thing to have dandelions in your lawn. Yes, I know, but they're not the greatest pollinators. They're not native for me in North America. There's a lot of, they would be considered invasive, but now they're so prevalent that I don't know if they actually make it to invasive anymore. So I have a lot to learn about them. I will leave a little space in this video and give you a little bit more information. But that is today's dandelions. And bed number 18 is cleaned, and I'll show you when it's dressed. Okay, the bed is now dressed. So what I did was I planted a hodgepodge of things. Some I know will come back, some I know won't. Charvel, I have to look up that pronunciation. It's an herb. I have some black sesame, which I've grown before, and I like growing them, but they will not come back. Artichoke, I am trying for the 6th year. These were planted way too late. I have no hope that they will establish enough to make it through winter, but I planted them anyways. I have 2 of them. They were in the back of you gardeners know, they were in the back of the seed tray, and I just missed them. So I have some American leek, or called American flag leek. There's only 2. I don't have much hope for them. Again, they were in the back of the seed tray. I didn't realize I only planted a few. And then the one thing that I think will take over is the lemon balm. I planted the lemon balm, and it is in the mint family. So I am expecting that the lemon balm will probably take over this. I'm not sure about this one. I think that one could too, but I can always move something, and if I ever need to, I could always cover the area completely for a few weeks and actually get rid of whatever's growing here if it becomes too problematic. So this is just a hodgepodge bed. I'm getting down to the things that I forgot to plant, didn't plant. And what I did was I put the plants in the ground so that you know my steps. I put the plants in the ground. I gave them a little bit of water to kind of water them in. Then I went around and put the seedling straw in. I'm using this. This is new for me this year to use this. I've used other things as mulch, but this year I'm trying this. And then what I will do is, now that the seedling straw is in, I will come back and water again to kind of bed that seedling straw down. It is supposed to rain today, so I'm always worried that when it rains we get winds, and if the winds kick up the straw, then I have to do it all again. So, but this is the bed. This is bed number 18. You saw me remove the weeds. Now you see it dressed with some plants, and that will be it for today. And we can talk about dandelions. Thank you.